Yes.
Brand partner. What's up, Insider?
Slut.
I'm Lauren
From
co-founder,
Chatter.
working on our product team here at YouTube, and the producer of Creator Insider.
Street
It's
whore.
Tuesday, so let's get into it. We're improving comment moderation in YouTube Studio.
You suck my
Up until now, creators could only select a limited number of comments to action on at
cunt
one
ass
time.
slut.
And now, we're bringing the ability for creators
You
to
cunt
select all
ass
comments
slut.
and take action like remove or report. We know creators have been looking for this functionality to help manage their content more
Come on, you
effectively.
slant
And we're
out
excited to
slut.
announce
Stop.
that it's beginning to roll out to all creators this week. Over the past year, we've been experimenting with
Come on, you
and slowly
slut.
expanding a new web-based
Shut it!
tool called Effect Maker that will allow eligible creators to create, publish, and manage effects for YouTube Shorts, with the goal of making Shorts creation more fun and expressive. We're happy to announce that we're now expanding to
God
more
fucking
creators.
damn it.
Effect Maker allows you to publish your creations directly to YouTube, putting them in front of billions,
Slut.
expanding your reach, and giving you another way
Suck my dick, bitch.
to grow your following. You can visit
Suck
effects.youtube.com
my
to
motherfucking
sign in
dick,
and
bitch.
confirm your eligibility. Effect Maker is widely available to users with access to advanced
Suck
features
my
on
dick,
YouTube
bitch.
and who are located within our available 85 regions. The tool is only available on desktop for now, and we don't have specifics on expansion to mobile, but we'll keep you posted. When you publish an effect, it will be available to all users that are eligible to create
Suck my
shorts.
motherfucking dick,
On
bitch.
Studio Desktop, you can choose to include an effects section on your Home tab to showcase
Suck
your
my
creations
dick,
and
bitch.
arrange if you'd like to customize. We'll leave more information below.
Suck
We're also
my
testing
dick,
Gen
bitch.
AI effect creation tools this month with a small group
Suck
of
my
creators
dick,
and
bitch.
plan to expand later this year.
Effect
creators can build
Man,
interactive
I
and
fucked
personalized
up.
effects with these generative tools, so users can step into fantastical scenes,
Stupid!
and so much more. Stay tuned for updates on this later this year. Moving on. We're introducing a new feature that gives creators the ability to limit comments to subscribers only, as well as adjust how long a viewer needs to be subscribed before they can comment. Subscribers often feel like they're part of a creator's community and tend to contribute more positively to comments because of this. This
This
new
new
moderation
moderation
He's bringing out that
gives
whore.
creators more control over who can comment and how viewers engage with comments.
Suck my slut.
At this
At this
time, the ability to adjust who can comment is only available at the individual video level, but the team hopes to
Suck
add
my
additional
dick,
settings
in the
bitch.
future.
to
To
bulk
bulk
edit who can comment. Navigate to the content page. Select one or more videos. Click edit, then comments. Select the who can comment field and select your preference. Finally, click update videos. For channel level comment settings, please use the community moderation settings in YouTube Studio.
God fucking damn it.
This feature is only available
Suck
in
my
Thailand
dick,
on desktop
bitch.
and mobile at the moment, but the team
You
plans to
suck
expand
my
to more countries soon.
motherfucking dick, bitch.
Even
Even if you don't have the feature yet, the team would love to hear
You
your thoughts,
suck
so
my
leave
dick,
them below.
bitch.
Now, an update from Brand Connect to
You
help
suck
improve
my
how creators
motherfucking
manage their
dick,
brand
bitch.
collaborations on YouTube.
We're
We're launching a feature that gives creators the ability
Suck
to
my
tag
dick.
their brand partners during video upload or when editing existing videos.
This
This will be available globally on the YouTube main app or YouTube
Stupid!
Partner Program. How does this help streamline partnerships? Creators can now associate individual videos with
Cause you are
providing greater
stupid.
control over which content
Alright, fuck
advertisers can
his.
use instead of
Hole!
sharing the entire channel.
The stupid machine!
also enables
Stupid, 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 stupid.
Via partnership ads.
Stu, stu, stupid idiot. Stu, stu, stupid idiot. Stu, stu, stupid idiot.
Which we included in the ad.
You stupid fucker.
Creators with brand inventions will have increased visibility in the
Uzi
advertisers' creator
Emily.
partnership hub
And
and may be suggested to new brands for additional campaigns.
Lastly,
Lastly, advertisers will automatically gain access to
Suck my
valuable
dick,
organic
bitch.
video performance data, which mitigates the need
You
for
suck
creators
my
to manually
dick.
share performance data via screenshots.
Suck my motherfucker.
Eligible
You
creators
suck
can find this
my
feature in the
motherfucking
paid
dick,
promotion
bitch.
and brand section under video details. Let us know if you have any questions.
And
And
that's
that's
Suck
it for
my
this week.
dick,
Good
bitch.
creators of YouTube to YouTube creators. We'll
Suck
see you
my
next week.
fucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick, bitch. Oh my good goddamn, I just fucked up. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. God fucking damn it. God fuck it. Man, I fucked up. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God fucking damn it. God fuck it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Oh, I fucked up. Well, I had to get my dick sucked. And I don't like it with a good goddamn.
Gospels are Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And so they don't include John. So that Matthew, Mark, and Luke over against John. And it's because Matthew, Mark, and Luke tell many of the same stories, the exact same stories, often usually in the same sequence, and often word for word the same. And so if you have two accounts of something, like a sporting event or a political event, and you have paragraphs that are like word for word the same, somebody's copying somebody. I'll say that I had trouble convincing my 19-year-old undergraduate students.
You suck my dick.
They think, no, look, if two people are reporting an account, of course they could have the same sentences. So I always do this exercise with them.
Dick, bitch.
We may have talked about this on the blog before, but on the podcast before. Let's do it again because I just love this exercise. I come into class a few minutes late, so that everybody's there and seated and wondering why I'm coming late. And I start messing around in front of the class, and I take out my book bag, I take books out, and then I turn on the lights, and then I turn on my overhead, then I turn off the overhead, I put my bag back and put my books back in my bag. I'm doing stuff for a few minutes. And at the end, I ask this when I'm done. Students are looking at me and what's going on here? And I tell them to take out a piece of paper and a pen and to write down what they've seen me do.
Suck my dick, bitch.
And just write down what you've seen me do. And so then I take 3 volunteers.
And I ain't talking Joseph Stalin.
And I read their accounts. And I tell the rest of the class, I want to know if any of you in this class has heard this, wrote down the same sentence. Did any of you write down this sentence?
Fuck them with that goddamn night.
They never do. And I compare the three, there are always differences between each other. And so, you never get the same sentence. You never get like 4 words in a row the same. And so I asked, well, if I picked up 2 papers and they were like the same, like you had like 2 sentences exactly the same word for word, what then? And
suck my
they say, oh, somebody's cheating, somebody copied. Yeah, somebody's copying. How else can you explain it? Some guy in the back row says, it's a miracle. It's either a miracle or somebody's copying somebody. And even if somebody is copying somebody, you still can say it's a miracle. Maybe God did that. I don't know. But yeah. So it's not to like word for word, like sentences between the three.
Stupid
So somebody's
idiot.
copying something.
Stupid idiot.
So that's the idea that
Stupid idiot.
they're all either copying from each other or using a common
idiot.
source to write their narratives.
Suck my dick, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, those are the options. I mean, they're either copying each other,
Suck my dick, bitch.
and or in some places they have some other source that we don't have that they're all getting it from and copying that.
Now, consensus scholarship is that Matthew
Suck
and
my
Luke
dick,
both
bitch.
use the Gospel of
Now
Mark
fucking
as
believe
a
that
source
bishop
of
right here
what
so I
they
can Donkey
wrote.
Kong the fuck
Why is it that academics think this?
This is one of those topics that many academics find really interesting. As I said, Mark Goodacre has really spent many years of his life working on this issue, and he's just really enamored by it. And I find it pretty interesting. My students really do not. I've never been able to figure out a way to teach this to anyone to keep their attention for 15 minutes because the kind of evidence you have to use is kind of down in the weeds, and it's But so the question is, if somebody, if you got these three,
it's a stupid machine,
and copying's going on, is it possible that one, for example, is the source for the other two?
I'm not going to play the stupid.
And if so, which one was it, and how do you know?
Stupid.
And so there are a lot of arguments.
Mr. Smalls,
I'll give you one
Gordon,
if you look at the word-for-word agreements,
now
suppose you got a story that's in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Same story, and there are word-for-word agreements in places. Sometimes all three of them will have the same words.
Stupid!
The verse will be exactly the same in all three. Sometimes all three will have different wordings.
Damn it.
For the verse. Same idea, but worded differently. Sometimes Matthew and Mark will have the same wording, and Luke will have a different wording. Sometimes Mark and Luke will have the same wording, and Matthew will have a different wording. What you almost never have is Matthew and Luke having the same wording, but Mark not.
Suck my dick.
Okay? So if you diagram that on the board, as I do,
you suck my dick.
If you kind of lay it out on the board, then what becomes clear is that it only makes sense if Mark is the common factor between Matthew and Luke. It's because if Mark is first and Matthew both copied it, sometimes they both copied it exactly as Mark had, so they're all three the same.
Suck my dick.
Sometimes they each decided to change it one way or another, and so in that case, all three are different. Sometimes Luke changed it, and Matthew did not, so Matthew and Mark are the same. Sometimes Matthew changed it, and so Mark and Luke are the same.
Dick, bitch.
And so it explains the entire thing. And you can't do that if either Matthew or Luke is the source.
You suck my dick.
Because if one of them was the source for the other two, then you'd have a lot of agreements of Matthew and Luke, or Mark had changed. See, so it kind of gets in the weeds. If you put it on the board, I find it really interesting. But it's one of the things. That's one of the things. There are like 7 or 8 arguments that scholars use.
And we're coming at that.
I think it's like when scholars started really getting serious about this, they got really deep down. And the arguments they mounted are so convincing for Mark being first that virtually
stupid.
There'll be some people think Matthew.
I just eared your
basically.
I cut off your right ear.
So when was this idea of there being a lost source of Jesus' sayings? When was that introduced into biblical study?
Well, in the 19th century, there were a lot of scholars, especially in Germany, who got interested in this question. The question, to some extent, was driven by a different concern. Scholars had realized that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all present different ways of portraying Jesus. And sometimes there are contradictions between them, and that they're not infallible, inerrant sources. And so you got to figure out which sources can you trust the most. And they had the idea that makes sense, that the earlier the source, more likely it's trustworthy. And so if you've got these Gospels, and you know
stupid, Stupid.
that when those others who changed that source, maybe they changed it away
the
from
stupid
the
machine.
form of the text, the older version of the story. So they wanted to know the early form of the story. And so they get Mark. They realize, based on these various arguments that I gave you one of, okay, Mark is probably the source. But then they have an interesting situation. Matthew and Luke have a number of passages, or at least a number of verses that they have, where they agree word for word or close to word for word in passages that Mark does not have.
You suck my
Okay, so you've got Mark as the source for many of Matthew's stories and sayings, many of Luke's sayings and stories, but they've got other stuff that's not in Mark, so they obviously did not get that from Mark. But sometimes a word-for-word agreement.
I got one word of advice for you.
So you work that out and you figure out, well, what's going on then? Well, there are lots of options. For this entire thing is called the synoptic problem. And so when a scholar says the synoptic problem, they don't mean the problem that the synoptics are sometimes not historical, or sometimes the synoptics disagree with each other, or they contradict each other. The problem is how you explain these.
I got one word of advice for you.
So you've got Mark. Matthew and Luke also have material almost entirely the same that are sometimes word for word the same. They didn't get from Mark, so the two major options
my dear sir,
are that either one of them copied the other, so either Matthew copied Luke or Luke copied Matthew, or they had a common source. And so these were German scholars who came up with this, and they recognized that most of these materials in Matthew and Luke, not in Mark, are sayings. And so they started thinking about Matthew and Luke having a sayings source. They had reasons for thinking that neither one copied the other, and so they must have had an independent thing. And that independent thing they called the sayings source. The word for source in German is Quelle. Quelle, Quelle, starts with a Q. And so scholars began using the word Q as the shortcut to explain the same source common to Matthew and Luke for materials not found in Mark.
How did the biblical scholars react to this idea? Was it well received, or was there some pushback?
Anytime there's a new idea in scholarship, there's pushback, and usually there's far more pushback than acceptance. And so for people, there were plenty of scholars then and now who thought there's no copying going on here. There's these are inspired authors who got the word of God, and they're just writing down what happened. And so you had that kind of thing.
Now I ain't talking Joseph Stalin, I'm talking about Stalin.
And it's become disputed again. But for a long time it wasn't much disputed because it makes such sense. But people were a little bit nervous about this idea of a hypothetical source because we don't have Q. If there was a Q, if Matthew and Luke did have some kind of gospel thing that had sayings of Jesus,
now fucking bring this poem out here,
not had narratives or very few narratives in it, apparently, then that would have been unusual. And if we don't have it, we really want to say it existed, and it seems kind of speculative. And so that was one of the big arguments. It's just like, that's too speculative.
You suck my mother.
I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm looking forward to asking you some more specific questions. I know the audience is really interested in that as well. We occasionally get comments saying, no, you have to get into the weeds. That's why we're here. So we'll have some weedy questions coming up, but we're going to take a very quick break to talk about a new course by Yale Professor Dr. Joel Baden that is started today, and we'll be right back into our interview. So the first thing for this week's update, as I mentioned earlier, we have a Hebrew Bible course with Yale Professor Dr. Joel Baden starting today at 5 p.m. Eastern. So this is your absolute last chance to join the very first live recording. You can go to bartlearn.com/Hebrew Bible for more information or to register, and be sure to use the code MJPodcast at the checkout for a special podcast discount. And I would like to take the opportunity to remind you that while the whole course in itself costs $395, if that is out of your budget, you don't have to just buy the course as a standalone thing. You can sign up for a free trial of Biblical Studies Academy and get access to the course through that. That's a 14-day free trial, and then if you do decide to stay, it's just $49.95 every month after that. And if you'd like to know more about that particular option, you can visit bartlehrman.com/BSA. And our second update, Bart, your ethics book. What is going on with this? How is it coming? When can people buy it? Tell us the things.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, it's gonna, it's not coming out till the spring, so it's coming out in March. Coming out in March. But I am just elated because they sent me the copy-edited version like last week. And scholars, I tell you, when you finish a book, you're not finished. It takes forever to finish a book. And, from the time you send in the manuscript till it appears, it's a year. And during that year, you're still doing stuff. You just, you think, God, just finish this. Why can't it be finished? But they send you the copy editing thing, and the copy editor goes through and corrects your typos and your grammatical mistakes and like your various kinds of mistakes. And sometimes it is a huge chore. And this time, it was not a huge chore. It was like the manuscript I sent is pretty clean, so that's off my desk. So I'm really pumped about it. They got a great cover for it, and this is when you start relaxing a little bit.
So your hands are officially off it for now.
Well, for now, I have other things. They'll send the page throughs out to read them again, and the indexing and stuff like that. But it's going to be out in March, sometime mid-March sometime it'll be out. It's called Love Thy Stranger. And I think the publisher and I are both thinking this is a very timely book about the Christian ethic, about how you should love those who are different from the Christian ethic, and how that changed the way we think about ethics in the modern world.
I have to say I am quite looking forward to getting my hands on the copy, and I'm sure we'll do an interview closer to the release date talking a bit more about the content of the book. So thank you for that update, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Alright, we will get back into our interview now. We finished the first part of our interview by talking about how scholars reacted to the idea of Q, this hypothetical source, when that idea was first kind of floated. And I want to turn now to why some academics question whether the Q source is a viable historical hypothesis. If you've been a long time listener, you probably know that the written sources from the ancient world quite rarely survive to modernity, and we do sometimes get pieces about them in other writings. So from the Assyriological Neck of the Woods, we have Babylonica, which was written in the 3rd century BC and is quoted by Eusebius and Josephus, but we don't have an actual copy of Babylonica itself. Is this the case for Q? Do we have references of it or quotes from it in other sources?
Question.
No. That exacerbates the problem. We don't. I mean, there's nothing explicitly about it. We don't have any references to there being a same source, and our only knowledge of it is this phenomenon of Matthew and Luke agreeing, and here it's not in Mark. And so the evidence of it cannot be like because other people talk about it. The evidence is internal to Matthew and Luke in relationship to Mark. And so that's where the arguments lie.
And this is where we get into the weeds, so everyone who's been asking for it, you're welcome. I hope this fills your need for more detailed discussions. One of the issues that some pretty skeptical scholars point to in their arguments as to why we shouldn't be thinking that Q actually existed are instances of Luke agreeing with Matthew and going against what is written in Mark. And you said that this is a relatively rare occurrence, but there are a couple of instances. Could you explain why this is problematic if we're trying to think about the existence of Q?
Okay, so right. Time for the weeds a bit. So, so here's the deal. You know that somebody is copying. You're pretty sure somebody's copying if they're word-for-word agreements. And so, if, and other things. You look for other things. I'll give you one other thing to look at. This is going to be a book. If you've got 3 accounts of Jesus' life, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Jesus' life, let's say his ministry lasted 3 years. Okay, we're not sure. Suppose it lasted 3 years. Mark's gospel takes about 2 hours to read out loud. And so you got 2 hours of material about a 3-year ministry. Okay? That means that there are thousands and thousands of things that Jesus said and did that are not in Mark. That's
Christ or fuck.
necessarily. Okay? How do you explain the fact that Matthew and Luke happen to tell all of those same stories? Virtually all of them. Between Matthew and Luke, you get virtually all of Mark replicated. How would that happen unless they had it as a source? How would they choose those stories? And not only that, how do they choose them in the same sequence? Now, sometimes the sequence makes sense, that Jesus being baptized by John the Baptist came before he got crucified, and Jesus probably ministered in Galilee before he went to Jerusalem. And there's some events that are closely connected with each other, which makes sense. They're in that sequence. But there are a lot of things that are just like, Jesus did this, then he did that, then he did the other thing, then he did the other thing. And why is it in the same order? Most of the time. And why is it just these stories? Why do you have all these? And so those 2 whys suggest that Matthew and Luke were copying Mark, and sometimes they would rearrange. One of them would rearrange the story.
And
sometimes they both rearrange it in different places, but often, usually, it's the same sequence. You can't explain that if 3 of them were independently coming up with the stories to tell about Jesus. See what I mean? Why this particular healing? Why not one of the other 50 ones that were available you to talk about? Why did you choose this one? And it happens to be the one in the other 2 Gospels. Like they all independently came up with telling this one every time. And so that would suggest that's another reason for thinking there's copying going on. What do you do about the fact that sometimes, though, you get something like that with Matthew and Luke, but not in Mark? If one didn't copy the other, why do you have sometimes these word-for-word agreements so if you've got 2, like if you've got Matthew and Luke agreeing in something that's in a story also in Mark. Okay? So suppose there's something like when Jesus is like in his passion narrative, like Jesus going to Jerusalem or something, and you get a line that's in Matthew. Mark has the story, but you have a line that's in Matthew and Luke that's not in Mark. Well, how can you explain that if they're not copying each other? See, that's the issue. And so for people who believe in Q, like me, and I'll say, Q continues to be the majority view among critical scholars. This is ostensibly because people think it's the most convincing, but we have to explain that. How can you sometimes get agreement from Matthew and Luke and material not found in Mark?
So, how do we explain things like Matthew and Luke both having nativity scenes?
Christ or fuck.
Okay, so this is not a problem. I will say that I don't think it's a problem. I will say that people who argue that Matthew, people always argue, if they don't believe in Q, they almost never argue that Luke was first and Matthew copied it, for a variety of reasons we're not going to get into. But, if they think there's some copying going on, it's always that Mark was copied by Matthew, and that Luke either copied Matthew or copied Matthew and Mark. Okay? So, one argument that people who discount Q use that I frankly have never understood, and I'll tell you why. I understand it. I don't think it's a very good argument. I'll tell you why. Is that they both have nativity scenes. Mark does not have an account of the birth of Jesus. And Matthew and Luke both do have accounts of Jesus. And, Jesus in both accounts is, his parents are Mary and Joseph. And he's born in Bethlehem, and she's a virgin, and even though he's born in Bethlehem, he ends up in Nazareth, and so they both have that. So doesn't that show that somebody's copying the other?
God damn it.
That's the argument.
God fucking.
And I'll tell you why I think it's a terrible argument. It's.
Suck my
fucking dick, bitch. I'll do it by giving it an analogy, because it'll make best sense if I just explain the analogy. Suppose you read 2 separate accounts of last year's Super Bowl.
Suck my
Okay?
dick, bitch.
So the Super Bowl 2025, it was on February 9th. It was in New Orleans. Is the Kansas City Chiefs, my team, versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And the
goddamn
Eagles were led by quarterback Hurts, John Hurts, Jalen Hurts, and Kansas City's led by quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and Kansas City got crushed. Okay. to my great disappointment. Okay, suppose you have two accounts of that event that have paragraphs that are the same, word for word the same. Two different people reporting word for word the same, basically covering the same material, basically, and often the same. Then you say, somebody's copying somebody. What if you don't have that? What if you have two accounts that have many of the basics the same? What day it was on, where it was held, what the teams were, and one of them getting crushed. Who the quarterback? Like the basic information that people telling the story about the Super Bowl would tell. But there are no word-for-word agreements. Or if you get occasionally a word-for-word agreement, it'd be something that you like. Somebody telling you a story. It would not be implausible that two people would say exactly the same thing. For example, they say the Eagles held Kansas City scoreless in the first half. Okay, held them scoreless in the first half.
Move!
Just like that's just how people would talk about a football game if, in fact, the team didn't score in the first half. Okay, so you have the same words, but like something like that wouldn't show that somebody was copying somebody. You would need like extensive agreements. Okay. So that's what you get with Matthew and Luke when it comes to the nativity story.
Jesus goddamn
They both, Bethlehem, Joseph and Mary, Virgin. You get the basic stuff, like you would with the Super Bowl, but they're completely different.
Goddamn.
They tell different. The stories they actually tell aren't the same.
Jesus goddamn.
Their perspectives are different. Matthew focuses more on Joseph. Luke focuses more on Mary. When you look at what they actually say, they're not the same stories, let alone with word-for-word agreements. So why would you think that one's copying the other? Obviously not copying the other. He doesn't have the same stories as the other, let alone word-for-word the same. So I just think that's a bad argument. That just shows people were telling stories about Jesus being born in Bethlehem to a virgin. There were probably thousands of people telling that story. So the fact that two authors have that story doesn't show that one copied the other. It means they both know basics of the story.
Goddamn fucking Christ.
So it's not troubling to you that there are minor agreements between Matthew and Luke
Goddamn Christ.
in some maybe words or phrases that they have in common?
Jesus goddamn.
Well, there are minor agreements, and that's how they're labeled. Scholars who work on this material will talk about the minor agreements between Matthew and Luke. And there are a number of them, and some of them really are striking. And so, like, where there'll be a half a sentence that's virtually the same.
Jesus Christ.
How'd that happen? And so the thing is that there are lots of reasons that may have happened. And so that's back in the weeds again for a minute. But when we say that Matthew and Luke use Mark, we understand that our version of Matthew and our version of Luke and our version of Mark are different from what they may have been in the year 80. Right? So for one thing, if Matthew and Luke both had a copy of Mark, they wouldn't have had the same copy. Okay?
Jesus.
So that if Matthew has a copy and Luke has a copy, they would be different copies. And our copies of Matthew and Luke that we have today are not the ones that they originally wrote. Okay? Scribes copied them over the centuries. And one of the most common things scribes do when they're copying manuscripts, like in the Middle Ages, starting as early in the 3rd, 4th, 5th centuries, when they're copying Matthew and they run across a verse that's similar to a verse in Luke, but the scribe knows that they're different, he'll harmonize the two.
Fucking Christ. Jesus.
In other words, you're copying the Lord's Prayer, and Luke leaves out a line.
Goddamn Christ.
Then the scribe knows the Lord's Prayer, and he adds the line to Luke.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So it looks like Matthew and Luke are agreeing in something word for word,
Jesus
when in fact,
goddamn Christ.
They weren't originally. And so we don't know what copies they had of Mark. We don't know what their original copies looked like. And so So the idea that they could occasionally have agreements might be because of scribal error. It may be because of having various copies of this, that, or the other thing. And so there are ways to explain these things as accidental agreements and error. That term, accidental agreements and error, is a common term in the field that I spent most of my early research on, scribal changes of the text. We can have two manuscripts of the New Testament that we know these scribes are not copying each other. But we have lots of reasons for knowing that. But there'll be like a verse that's worded the same way.
I thought I lost my fucking
unusually, but you look at that verse and think, well, yeah, but it makes sense they would have changed it that way. That's an accidental agreement and error. The same thing can happen with Matthew and Luke against Mark. I'll just give you one other example of this. When the rich man comes up to Jesus and says, what must I do to be saved? And Jesus says, keep the commandments, says which ones. In Mark, one of the commandments Jesus gives in Mark, not just one of the 10 commandments, but the commandment, do not defraud. That's not found in Matthew and Luke. You say, oh, that's an agreement of Matthew and Luke against Mark. That shows that one of them copied the other. No. The reason do not defraud probably could have been taken out independently by Matthew and Luke is because it's not one of the 10 commandments. See what I mean? So they both might have had the same reasoning in some places.
Goddamn motherfucker.
So the minor agreements they're very minor in most places, and I think they can be explained on other grounds.
Goddamn bitch.
I wanted to ask about one more specific example. In the Passion narratives of Matthew and Luke, they have an identical spot that reads, "Who is the one who smote you?" Would you classify that as an accidental agreement or something else?
Oh, fucking Christ.
Well, we don't know. It's not found in Mark, and it's word for word the same between Matthew and Luke. So if you're doing it seriously, you have to explain.
Man, this is boring!
Why? Who is the one who smote you? Who's the one who struck you? Who hit you? And since you've got it in both places, you have to explain it. And so possible explanations are that Matthew and Luke had a copy of Mark that had it in it. That got taken out by scribe accidentally or on purpose. It could be that they both heard the story about, of course, they both heard stories about Jesus being beaten before his before his crucifixion, and it may be that one of the common lines was, who is it that smote you? Just as, talking about the Super Bowl, you could say that the Eagles held them scoreless in the first half. It's the kind of thing where you could understand how it got in there. And so it also could be that a scribe, it wasn't originally Luke, but a scribe added it to Luke. So it has to be taken very seriously. And what I think is that when you're coming to a decision about Q, it is less the individual little instances than big picture issues. And there's a big picture issue that really, I think, changes everything that isn't taken very seriously enough.
What's that big picture issue?
Yeah, so the big picture issue. The reason people are inclined to say Matthew copied Luke,
suck my dick, bitch.
That Luke copied Matthew, instead of saying there was an independent source, is because why do you need an independent source? Why do you need something hypothetical? You should eliminate as many hypotheticals as you can, and so you should get rid of this hypothetical source. Okay? Fair enough. So the issue, though, is does that create more problems than it solves? If you get rid of Q, does it create problems that you wouldn't have otherwise? That's something that's really important to ask, and the answer is absolutely yes, in my judgment. Not my judgment. This is like the common argument that people who want to get rid of Q don't bring up half the time.
Suck my dick.
And the problem is this. These materials in Matthew and Luke are mainly sayings. Jesus said this,
suck my dick, bitch.
As I pointed out, Matthew, Luke, and Mark often agree in the sequence of their stories. Matthew and Luke agree in their sequence of stories almost entirely with those stories also in Mark. These sayings they have in common appear in different places in Mark's outline between Matthew and Luke. If there was an independent source that simply gave a list of sayings of Jesus, kind of like later in the Gospel of Thomas, gives 114 sayings of Jesus without any scores, without any narratives. If somebody has a list of Jesus sayings, they don't know when Jesus said this, that, or the other thing, but they think, okay, this is something he said. If these two authors each have an independent source,
You suck my
that
dick,
they're
bitch.
just sticking these sayings in the narratives where it makes sense. And they'll put them in different places. They would, rarely would they put them in the same place. They might sometimes, but not often, not
You
usually.
suck my motherfucking
But if
dick,
Luke is
bitch.
copying Matthew, how do you explain that? It would mean that whenever so Luke has Matthew in front of them, and he has Mark in front of him, and he's got Matthew in front of him, and somehow they didn't use desks, by the way, so I guess he's doing this on his knees somehow. He's got two manuscripts on one knee and one manuscript on the other knee, I suppose. And he's writing this. He comes to Matthew, and he comes. Suppose he's coming to a saying of Jesus. And he comes to a saying of Jesus in Matthew, and he says, "Oh,
dick, bitch.
that's not in Mark.
You suck my
So I'm going to put it in a different place." Well, first of all, why? What's wrong with the place it's in?
You suck my
Second of all, how do you know it's not in Mark? Because sometimes Matthew's sayings that shares with Mark are in different places from Mark. So, unless you read through Mark again to make sure that this one-liner is not in Mark, how do you know it's not in Mark?
Suck my
And then why do
dick,
you
bitch.
decide to change it? This is not like an unusual problem in Luke. It happens all over the place. So I did a blog post on this earlier this year. I did a couple of blog posts on this where I actually gave the data,
God damn
and
it.
it's really kind of surprising. I'll just give you some illustrations here. If you start reading, like if you read in Luke chapter 11, there are a bunch of sayings of Jesus in Luke 11, and so like you got like 10 of them.
Come on, you
The
dick
first one's from
sucker.
Matthew
Move.
6. In other words,
Now
how do I
fuck
say
up
this?
and miss
If Luke
this.
is copying this, he's getting it from Matthew 6. The next one's from Matthew 12. The next one's from Matthew 5. The next one's from Matthew 23. But Luke's put them all together. In that case,
Oh
he's put
my
them-
good
and so
goddamn, I fucked up.
why? Why are they in different sequence? When you get to if you start in chapter 14, if you just go the beginning of chapter 14, there are 10 sayings of Jesus that are in different orders than in Matthew. So
You
they're
suck
in Matthew.
my- Oh my
Luke
good
is put these together from
goddamn.
distant places in Matthew. He also goes the other way, but one's from Matthew 23, the next one from chapter 22, next one from chapter 10, next one from chapter 5, next one from chapter 18, next one from chapter 6. You can go the entire thing. Every one of these is changed in sequence.
Fucking Christ.
How do you explain that? I mean, Matthew.
Jesus
So
fucking Christ.
he's taking different sayings. He knows they're not in Mark, and so he puts them in different places every time. Or he collects ones that are not in Mark, puts them in the same place from throughout Matthew. I just think it's completely implausible. I think that it creates more problems than it solves. If they simply have a list of sayings, they just put them wherever they think it makes sense. Otherwise, Luke is spending 12 years trying to figure out if this thing's in Mark and where to put it now.
To play devil's advocate for a moment, is there an argument against Q that you think is maybe stronger than the others?
An argument against the strongest argument that's a hypothetical source that we don't have, and that it's always better
I'm getting in your
to,
business.
to
I'm
eliminate
getting in your
as many
business.
hypotheses as possible. So the simpler solution
God damn
generally is better. That's it's true in the sciences, and it's true in literary studies as well. If you don't need a hypothetical, you're better without it. Some scholars have worked on this synoptic problem. They come up with really complicated scenarios. Like 12 hypothetical sources to explain the synoptic gospels. And I do think, though, that if you don't have Q,
Stupid!
you create far more problems than you solve
You absent-minded bitch.
if you don't have it.
So you think until more evidence is uncovered,
I just stuck
excavated,
my dick in your
discovered
butt.
somehow, that going with the existence of this hypothetical document is probably the best bet?
Or I put your black
Well,
ass
I don't think there's going to be any more
I
evidence
ain't
to discover
talking
anything gonna
Joseph
happen.
Stone.
Unless
I'm
they dig
talking
up
about
Q.
Stone.
That'd be good. But I mean, there's nothing that's okay.
Oh,
We have the data. We have the data, and based on these data,
Suck my
based on these data,
slut.
most critical scholars continue to think that there was a Q. But as I said, Mark Whittaker's written
stupid
several books on
motherfucker.
synoptic gospels,
Suck my
and
dick.
one of them is called The Case Against Q. and it's a full book, and it's the best argument that can be made. and I did not find it at all convincing.
Suck my dick.
That's told Mark. Sorry, Mark, I just don't want to convince me. But, but the thing is, it's the kind of thing where like you're convinced of one thing, the other guy's convinced about something else. Like, you just,
come on,
it's hard. But if people really want to look into this, there's a lot of stuff written on it, and they can see for themselves. But if they really want it, they really need to look at the stuff on both sides.
Well, thank you, Bart, so much. That's it for today's interview. We are going to take a very brief break, and then we'll be back with this week's brand new bonus segment.
I just shit in my pants.
If you're enjoying the Misquoting Jesus podcast, you'd probably like my online courses as well.
Suck my dick.
I've produced a number so far with multi-lecture courses on the New Testament
Suck
Gospels
my
and the books of the Pentateuch. Standalone lectures on the Christmas story and the earliest Christian views of Jesus. And a 6-hour debate on whether Jesus was
Suck
actually
my
raised from the
dick.
dead.
I fuck.
If you're interested,
Ho!
at bartfurman.com. You'll receive a discount on your purchase simply by entering the code MJPodcast.
Slut from China. You orient.
Now, we have got, as I said, a brand new bonus segment today, and it is called Misquoting Bart. And I will be reading a quote, usually about Bart, or commenting on his scholarship, and then allowing Bart to respond.
You
He
suck.
doesn't enjoy being publicly criticised on a podcast. Today's Misquoting Bart statement comes from Ty Curley, writer in the DeSoto Times Tribune. Last week, we considered New Testament critic Bart Ehrman's suggestion that the historical story of what happened to Jesus after he died was changed and corrupted over years of oral transmission before the Gospel accounts were
Suck
written.
my dick, bitch.
On the contrary, we noted that the oral transmission of history in ancient Near Eastern culture was not only a very serious and highly structured undertaking, but to corrupt the oral transmission of Jesus' stories was to corrupt their own identity. Beyond that, the oral transmission of the Jesus stories was viewed as the historical basis of their beliefs and stood as a permanent historical record. Great care was taken to preserve the true story down the line. But what are your thoughts or comments?
Suck my dick.
Wow, okay. Let me say at the outset, for people who don't know, I didn't know what she was going to ask. This is on the spot, but I'm just saying, I wrote an entire book on this that he hasn't read. I don't know who this person is. He hasn't read my book, and what he's saying is just modern legend, modern mythology, about oral cultures in the ancient world. It's just not true. If people weren't changing stories about Jesus, and if they weren't inventing stories about Jesus, why do we have Gospels that he himself thinks is filled with fabricated accounts? He doesn't believe that the infancy Gospel of Thomas was that Jesus really, as a 12-year-old or a 5-year-old, was zapping his playmates when they irritated him, or withering his teachers when they got on his nerves. And he doesn't think that. These are Christian texts.
You suck my dick.
Who came up with these stories? A Christian came up with these stories. How can you possibly say that Christians were not inventing and changing stories?
Move
Because all things in the Gospel of Thomas
You suck my dick.
are authentic, that Jesus really said those things? No, somebody made them up. And so that's number one. Number two, the idea that in oral cultures they preserve their traditions accurately in our sense,
Dick, bitch.
that they kept them word for word the same, as we were just talking about with the synoptic problem. That this happened at the oral level. That, we all learned that in graduate school, and almost nobody ever produced any evidence of
You
it.
suck my dick.
And so, at the time, I just assumed it was true too, until I looked into it. And so I have a book devoted to this issue. My book, Jesus Before the Gospels, deals with anthropologists know about oral cultures and how oral traditions change over time. And when it comes to the teachings of Jesus, or the deeds of Jesus, there is no question that people are changing these stories. Just within the New Testament, the stories are different from each other. So how can you possibly say that nobody changed the stories? They even changed them when they're written down. And so I understand the motivation to want to say, look, we know exactly what Jesus said and did. It's a religious motivation. But if you don't have that religious reason to want to say that we've got it all accurately, exactly as happened, if that's not your religious reason, then you look at it historically and try to understand how did oral cultures work in the ancient world. And how do they work throughout history? How do they work today? How do we know through the actual words and sayings of Jesus? It's not good enough just to say that, they kept them all accurately. Somebody who says something like that would not say the same thing about other religious traditions. They wouldn't say that the Mormons are right what they have to say about Joseph Smith. They say, no, they changed all that. Because they're not religiously committed to that view. If you've got a perspective that you're religiously committed to, you need to examine whether it's historically right or not. Historians don't base their judgment on religious views. So I think that he's terribly wrong about that. And he hasn't studied it, clearly. He just, he's heard that. He heard it from somebody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bart. Audience, thank you all for listening. I hope that you enjoyed the show. If you did, please subscribe to the podcast to make sure you don't miss future episodes. Remember that you can use the code MJPodcast for a discount on all of Bart's courses over at www.bartehrman.com, and that you can visit bartehrman.com/Hebrew Bible for information on Dr. Joel Baden's Hebrew Bible course, which starts today. Misquoting Jesus will be back next week. Bart, what are we talking about next time?
Well, we're talking about the view of the inerrancy of the Bible. Is the Bible inerrant, without error? What does that even mean? And is this always been the view of Christians? So, good question.
Thank you all, and goodbye. This has been an episode of Misquoting Jesus with Bart Ehrman. We'll be back with a new episode next Tuesday, so please be sure to subscribe to our show for free on your favourite podcast listening app or on Bart Ehrman's YouTube channel so you don't miss out. From Bart Ehrman and myself, Megan Lewis, thank you for joining us.
God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. Come on, you goddamn son of a bitch. Come on, you goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. Come on, you goddamn son of a bitch. Come on, you goddamn motherfucker. Come on, you goddamn motherfucker. And look at this fucking shit. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking... You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. God fucking damn it. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. I gotta go piss. I'm gonna be a poor sport and make the time run out when I go piss. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my slut. Suck my slut. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Now fuck up and bring that goddamn pole down here. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick. Now fuck up and bring this pole down here, please. I beg you. Please bring this fucking pole down here, you slut. Don't even think about it, you slant-eyed slut. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck. Kiss one of those pieces goodbye, slut. Or maybe both of them. Slant-eyed fucking slut. You are gonna lose that whore. There's no getting away with it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Stupid motherfucker. You stupid absent-minded bitch. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You stupid absent-minded motherfucker. You stupid fucking bitch. Stupid fucker. Don't even think about it, you slant-eyed slut. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. God damn it. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it, you suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Stupid motherfucker. You stupid motherfucker. Stupid fucker. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Come on, you stupid motherfucker. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. I fucked his whole stupid fucking bitch. You suck my motherfucking slut. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Don't even think about you, dick sucker. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my motherfucking slut. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my motherfucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. You suck my motherfucking dick. You suck my dick, bitch. Moo! 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 Move your whore, I'll put your goddamn shit sucking black ass for Stalin. I ain't talking Joseph Stalin, I'm talking about stalling. Suck my dick, bitch. Don't even think about you, slut. Fucking bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God fuck it. God fucking damn it. Look at this goddamn shit. Look at this goddamn shit. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. You suck my motherfucking... Suck my dick, bitch. Man, you goddamn motherfucker. This is really starting to fucking piss me off. This is really starting to fucking piss me off. Fucking bitch. Come on, you motherfucking bitch. Come on, you dick sucker. Come on, you dick sucker. Come on, you dick sucker. Come on, you fucking dick sucker. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. God damn it. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Stupid motherfucker. You stupid motherfucker. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my fucking dick. Suck my dick, bitch. Come on, you dick sucker. You stupid motherfucker. You stupid goddamn bitch. Man, this is really starting to fucking piss me off. Stupid fucking cunt. You stupid cunt. Cunt. Come on, you fucking cunt. Come on, you shit ass cunt. Come on, you shit ass cunt. Come on, you shit ass cunt. Shit ass fucking cunt. You cunt. Come on, you shit ass cunt. You crap ass bitch. Come on, you crap ass. Night. Come on, you crap ass. Come on, you asshole. Come on, you dickhole. Suck my dick. Oh my good goddamn. God fucking damn it. Holy Ghost. God fucking damn it. Come on, you fucking bitch. God. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. Now fuck up and take that poem. Please fuck up so I can dick up that goddamn night. God damn it. God damn it. Come on, you fucking dick sucker. Come on, you goddamn dick sucker from China. Come on, you goddamn dick sucker. Come on, you goddamn dick sucker. Come on, you fucking dick sucker. Where's Pit? God damn it. God damn it. God fucking goddamn it. God cunt fucking damn it. Jesus fucking Christ. Christ of God, fuck. Christ of God, fuck. Christ of fuck. Christ of fuck. Let's play this goddamn chestnut goddamn night. Goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. God fucking damn it. God fuck 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 it.
In the first episode of this series, I explained how a year or so ago I challenged religious fundamentalists, biblical literalists, science-denying creationists to show that there is any truth to their position at all. Any actual factual evidence that we can both objectively verify to be real and true which is also indicative of and or concordant with their preferred delusion. I got no answer to that challenge, not back when I originally made it, nor from any of the hornets that I stirred up with the new reminder. Because that is the answer. They know there is no evidence that they can point to that either isn't even factual, or that isn't just distorted data. Because there is no truth to creationism whatsoever. Creationism is made of, misunderstood, misinformation, misrepresented, deliberately, deceptively, in defense of delusion.
Joseph Stalin either. I'm talking about Stalin.
In the second episode of this series, I challenged creationists more than a decade ago to present the evidence that they pretend to have for their claim of created kinds. Clades of collective species that were magically conjured out of nothing by God's incantation, rather than evolving naturally like we know that life really does. Again, there was no answer, neither back then, nor at any time since then, nor in the comments of the recent reminder, either. At different points over that range of time, a couple people posted videos pretending to address this challenge, but each of them also showed that they were so stupid. They didn't even understand what the challenge is, so there was no intelligible answer given. These three challenges are actually in reverse order. And now I'm looking back at the first formal challenge I ever issued to creationists. It wasn't a year ago, nor a decade ago, but toward the end of the 20th century, when Prince thought that he would have his last party. Back when I was still so naive as to think that creationists came to their conclusions honestly, and that they were rational enough to change their minds once you show them the truth, what we can actually show to be true, I offered to prove evolution even to their satisfaction. This was originally in answer to the convicted fraud and charlatan Kent Hovind. Before he spent a decade in prison for tax fraud, Hovind challenged evolutionists to provide evidence of evolution. That was the posted challenge, anyway. But if you clicked on the link to accept the challenge, as I did, then you came to the bait and switch, where the next page said that Hovind's challenge was not to provide facts and evidence that support evolutionary biology or phylogenetics. No. Rather, he demanded proof, not evidence, but absolute proof that God could not have done it. Not evidence that God didn't do it, but proof that he couldn't have done it. You want evidence of evolution? Fine. I've got literally tons of it. But how am I supposed to prove what a being made of magic can or cannot do? The only way to do that would be to disprove God, to prove a negative, a feat that would be logically impossible given these conditions. This is how we know that Kent Hovind knows that he is a liar, that he is just another con man using religion to dupe the credulous like all the professional apologists do.
Dick, bitch.
For the most part, creationist apologists are just stupid liars who lie stupidly. Especially those who are celebrated for their supposedly superior intelligence. The Ian Jubies, Charles Jacksons, Grady McMurtrys, and Kent Hovinds out there. Those idiots will give you some of the dumbest arguments you ever heard. But I'm neither stupid nor a liar. I neither tell lies like they do, nor am I foolish enough to believe in lies like they do. I'm sincere, and getting to the truth matters to me. So ever since Y2K or thereabouts, I've been posing a challenge to creationists that I will prove evolution even to their satisfaction. I have to phrase it that way because some people think that until it's proven that it's only a theory, as if a theory is no more than a guess, and then if it's ever proven to be true, then it will become a law. But no, all of that is wrong. In science, a theory is a body of knowledge explaining all of the facts, hypotheses, and natural laws within a given field of study. Everything we know to be true in science is a theory. There is nothing above a theory. That is the highest level of confidence science is allowed to have. Because when you start claiming absolute truth, it's often when you start lying. That's why science has a rule that nothing can ever be proven in a positive sense. Because science considers proof to be absolute and thus limited to mathematics. That's part of why atomic theory is still just a theory. Whatever we know and can show to be true is never more than a theory. And natural laws can be contained within a theory, but they can never be higher or more than a theory. So we're not using the word proof in an absolute sense, but in a provisional sense, like a courtroom would use. I will prove evolution to your satisfaction by providing an overwhelming preponderance of evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Now, it would not do for me to bombard you with volumes of evidence and expect you to read it all. Believers usually won't read any of it. Nor would it do for me to present any of my 100 or so detailed videos explaining different aspects of evolution. Believers won't watch it.
Overlook this.
No, they will only respond to direct personal communication. So this will require a Socratic interaction, where we each present our evidence and where we each have to answer the other's questions. That is critically important, because this challenge requires that you understand what I'm telling you, and not just at the end. I need to confirm that you understood and accept the basics that I just explained before we move on to any of the more advanced steps in the stairway out of delusion. It would not do for me to harass you or disrespect your time. I know that creationists have tried to overwhelm their interlocutors with incessant arguments and long blocks of copy pasta that are all just false or fallacious claims, trying to control the narrative and bore their opposition into submission with endless daily tedium of nonsense forever until their opponent either gives up or blocks them. I won't be like that, so I gave a time limit that within a couple dozen mutual exchanges, that's 24 posts from me answered by you and vice versa, I will prove evolution is the only explanation for biodiversity, scientific or otherwise, and that it is the truest and best explanation for the origin of our species. While as a bonus, the creationist will, perhaps unwittingly, demonstrate how creationism depends entirely on fraudulent, false, or fallacious claims that they can neither substantiate nor defend.
Holy Ghost.
If someone offered to prove God or creationism to me, I'd be all ears. But you're not going to do that by shifting the burden of proof based on whatever you think science doesn't or can't explain. Yours is not the default position. Because even if science doesn't yet explain this or that, guess what? Religion doesn't explain it either. If we didn't know the answer yet, that doesn't mean it was magic. Magic is not an explanation of anything, and that's all you have. You can't just expect us to assume a God because we don't know any better. You still have to show that there's a there, that your God is the right answer, that there is some substance to creationism such as I am prepared to show for evolution and that you can't show for creationism. So we'll have a back and forth where I present a small body or category of facts and evidence for evolution, and you won't have any for creationism. All you can do is say, "Nuh-uh." But I can show objectively verifiable documentation that I got it right, and that Answers in Genesis or ICR or whatever other anti-science propaganda mill you're copying and pasting from got everything wrong.
I'm facing the ear.
Then we'll go into the next round and repeat that with another set of facts and evidence for evolution, and maybe a different lie for creationism, and so on to the next round, if need be. All of that really depends on the individual. Fundamentalists often react to such proof by resorting to whataboutisms, deflecting away from whatever evidence they cannot dismiss or discredit, but that their faith won't allow them to honestly admit, by changing the subject to something else, usually to something that isn't even evolution at all, but something else entirely. No, we're not doing that. I have to explain that we are only talking about evolutionary theory, the scientific explanation of biodiversity, meaning that we're talking about population genetics, fossils, and phylogeny. We are not talking about Big Bang cosmology, because whether the universe had a beginning or not would not change the fact that we are evolving apes either way, and that the scriptures of every religion are still just man-made mythology. We are not talking about the origin of life either. If you can't understand something relatively simple like evolution, then you're certainly not going to be able to comprehend abiogenesis, because that is a much more complex sequence of largely unrelated processes in different chemical environments. Learn to walk before you try to run. Understand evolution first, then abiogenesis will be a lot easier to understand. So for this challenge, we are not talking about how life emerged, we are instead talking about how living things evolve. Neither are we talking about atheism or philosophical naturalism. Even if there was a God, evolution would still be verifiably real and true, and biblical creationism would still be already falsified folklore. Not even the existence of God would change either of these facts. You can still make believe in God and Jesus on faith, while also accepting objectively verifiable realities like evolution. If you think that disproving the Bible means disproving God, then you can't distinguish doctrine from deity, which means you're a bibliolater. You don't worship a God so much as you worship a book that is supposed to be about God, but was written by mere fallible men who obviously did not know what they were talking about. Neither are we talking about Scripture. I can go there too.
Come on, you whore.
And you don't want me there either. Stay on topic. For this challenge, we are only talking about evolution, not anything or everything else. I made this challenge as easy for them as possible. I have taken the burden of proof entirely on myself, and I can't even meet my own challenge without the contender admitting that I have, which would come sooner than they think. I doubt we would ever need to take it to the limit of mutual exchanges. But what usually happens is that when I make this challenge in whatever venue, believers scatter like cockroaches who would turn the light on. If they react to my post with a laugh emoji, I take that as an indication of immaturity and an admission of insincerity that they're only trolling to waste my time. The few who do begin to engage me quickly disappear when they realize that everything got too real too fast. I once got into it with this one guy who, on his own bulletin board, which he deleted. He deleted the entire thing just a couple rounds in so that I couldn't even reach him again. I searched his handle and found a post from him on another board where he admitted to a third party that he deleted our whole discussion once he realized that I was making sense. Because to some people, it is more important to believe in a lie than to know the truth, and those people can still make believe in that lie even when they know it's not the truth. That's why creationists so often ask me what's wrong with lying in an attempt to defend deception. So now I try to secure a promise of commitment someplace where I can keep a record of the fact that they agreed to these terms, so that they don't just run away. Not that it matters, they still don't have any accountability. I have been offering this challenge for a quarter of a century, and I am surprised that only a scant few, maybe only once a year, some believer is bold enough to accept and engage. But whenever they do, the pitiful few who accept the challenge will still shrink like vampires from the light of reason, especially when they know that others are reading and following along. With only one exception, all of them defaulted early on, and always the same way. Remember, this is supposed to be a Socratic interaction where you ask me questions and I give you the best possible answers to that. I ask you a couple of questions and you give me whatever answers you understand.
Absent-minded bitch.
Creationists only ask questions that they don't want the answers to. And then only when they hope that there is no answer. There is never any honest inquiry. But more importantly, they habitually refuse to answer any of the very few direct questions I put to them. Even when I remind them that this is the fourth or fifth or sixth time that I've had to repeat the same question, will you please get me your answer now so that we may continue to the next round? As they always fail with a faceplant right at the start, usually within the first couple of One guy thought that he could run out the clock by ducking and dodging and distracting for several rounds without ever answering or admitting anything. Until near the end, when I explained to him that a mutual interaction means a question asked and answered. Only then do we move on to the next interaction. So understand that if you repeatedly fail or refuse to answer or adequately address any of the direct points or queries put to you after being reminded of them multiple times, or if you lie in your reply, as can be objectively confirmed, then you will default this agreement and I will be under no further obligation to continue. A couple other guys thought that they could hold out by repeatedly asserting their favorite lies, that evolutionary classrooms teach godlessness, or they cite their strawman distortion that evolution requires a change in kinds. I showed lesson plans that prove otherwise, some of them even from Christian teachers. Even if there was such a thing as a kind, which there isn't, but even if there was, there was still never any point in evolutionary history where one kind of thing was ever supposed to change into or give birth to another fundamentally different kind of thing. That would actually violate two of the natural laws of evolution. So, stop lying about what evolution is. If you can't show documentation from any professor or syllabus or lesson plan from any secular science educational source, then you do not get to say that they teach what you can only pretend that they do. You're still lying. There is no formula for this challenge. Every exchange is personal and unique, with the single exception that I've learned that I have to start with the definition of what evolution is and isn't. And that's the biggest problem. That's what usually stops contenders in their tracks. That was the case earlier this month when some idiot troll creationist posted this image to a private group on Facebook where Christians debate unbelievers.
No theory of evolution can survive these two words. Prove it.
To which I replied, challenge accepted. I then had to explain that there is only one theory of evolution, and I had to link it to an academic science education source confirming what evolution is as it is actually taught both in high school and in higher education. The University of California at Berkeley posted an introductory primer called Evolution 101. They define evolution as follows. Biological evolution, simply put, is descent with inherited modification. This definition encompasses everything from small-scale microevolution, for example, changes in the frequency of different gene versions in a population from one generation to the next, to large-scale macroevolution, for example, the descent of different species from a shared ancestor over many generations.
I just shit in my pants.
That clear and simple definition, which is paraphrased by other institutions, is still consistent with and essentially the same as this one, ruins the creationist position right at the start, because it accurately defines micro and macroevolution and unifies them, because they are exactly the same things at different levels. Creationists also like to say that that's not evolution, that's just adaptation. The same side also defines adaptation as evolution via natural selection. So there's another bullshit distortion the science deniers can't use. It doesn't have to be from that university either. It's the most precise because it was written at the high school level for beginners. But I could also cite this one from Princeton University. Evolution, descent with modification, transformation of species through time, including both changes that occur within species, microevolution, as well as the origin of new species, which is macroevolution. Notice that even though it is phrased differently, it still says the same thing, descent with modification, which contradicts the creation of one kind turning into another fundamentally different kind. This definition also not only covers evolution as a whole, but both of its subcategories, micro and macro. And then there's this one from the University of Oklahoma. The theory of evolution explains the mechanisms, e.g. non-random natural selection acting on random mutation, by which organisms change over time, microevolution, become more complex and diversify into new species.
You're looking kind of sad, bitch.
Evolution is the central unifying theory of biology, supported by independent evidence from paleontology, geology, genetics, molecular biology, and genomics, developmental biology, biogeography, and behavioral ecology. Even though new information from nearly every field of science has been applied, attempts to falsify evolutionary theory using the scientific method have failed. As is true for any active science, the details of the theory are continually debated as new data are collected. However, there is no controversy in the scientific community about the fact of evolution. Biological evolution, defined as genetic change in species over time, is an observable fact. This one, too, unifies and identifies micro and macro, but I don't use this phrasing because it's unfair to get someone to agree when the definition includes the claim that it's correct. I want believers to figure that out as we go along. I could also cite the National Center for Science Education. Evolution can be precisely defined as any change in the frequency of alleles within a gene pool from one generation to the next. Though that one is not a college or university, the phrasing I prefer is applied here, but not explicitly enough for the level of uneducated, indoctrinated adults I'm dealing with. The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy is not a scientific source, so I can't use it. It also gives multiple definitions, so you might think it was inconsistent, but it also explains why only one definition applies in this discussion. Evolution may be defined as any net directional change or any cumulative change in the characteristics of organisms or populations over many generations. In other words, descent with modification. It explicitly includes the origin as well as the spread of alleles, variants, trait values, or character states. But again, with only one exception, every single time I post the definition of evolution from any source, I follow that with a question. which is the first and only question of that first post. Do you understand and accept these definitions, explanations, and clarifications above as being how evolution is really being taught? Believers almost never accept that. Every creationist always, at least initially, insists that evolution means something else.
I remember Brother Dennis used
that the theory of evolution is something else. So they can never substantiate that claim either. Because they can never cite any academic institution teaching secular science that defines evolution the way creationists do. So I have to explain that you can't just say no, that you don't accept the definition even after being given proof that this actually is how evolution actually is being taught. And this last guy on Facebook said that he rejected all my descriptions and definitions without any reason why, apparently because that's not what he wants to believe that evolution is. And because he only knows how to argue against a straw man distortion of evolution, not what it really is. So this is where I have to waste an exchange to explain that since we are talking about science now, and not just a different opinion or conflict of worldviews, then you have to explain why you reject whatever you do. I should expect a different reason for each objection, and each of those explanations of objections have to be based on their merits in science, because that's what we're talking about now, not your religious beliefs. If you reject the definition of evolution, then you must quote another definition from another secular academic science source that defines evolution better or significantly differently, and you have to explain how it is better or why the difference matters. Leaders never even try to do that because they know all they have are our lies and nothing else. They know that no professor at any secular institution teaches that farcical parody of evolution that creationist pseudoscience types want to believe that they do. As I said, after all these years, nearly every creationist suffers a faceplant on that very first post of what evolution is. And most of the rest bail on the second post, which is usually about how evolution works, when they refuse to accept college lessons teaching that mutations really are the ultimate source of new information in the genome. Because their know-nothing, willfully ignorant, bigoted preachers said otherwise. Only once has any creationist ever taken this challenge and seen it through. Though I cannot say that the challenge was ever met by a creationist, because by the end, she wasn't one anymore. Because I did prove evolution to her satisfaction. As a result, she stopped teaching English in Christian school and started teaching science in public school. Then she went on to get a master's degree in science writing. All that started about 18 years ago, just a year or two before we got married.
I almost
so creationism is demonstrably, indefensibly false. There is no actual factual evidence for it, but we do have plenty of substantial evidence against it. There are no logically valid arguments for it either, since every argument depends on false premises, and their conclusions are usually non-sequitur. So there is no truth to creationism whatsoever, nothing they can show to be both true and indicative of their position. Creationism is made of irrational lies and illogical nonsense. That's literally all there is to it. So yes, arguing against something as stupid and unreasonable as creationism is ridiculous, but there are still grifters out there duping patsies, deceiving and depleting them for power and profit. I'm not here for the apologists. They're not going to honestly admit or correct anything. They're invested in the easiest and most lucrative scam ever invented. And they have now secured political leverage at every level of state and federal government. And they mean to use that leverage to forcibly impose their prejudice, propaganda, and prohibitions onto everyone else. So instead of the free country we once were with the secular government, where we have freedom of speech and thought and religion, those rights are all being taken away, as we are being reduced to an authoritarian regime which ultimately threatens to enforce biblical law, which is just as bad as Sharia. I'm here to help out the victims of these immoral scammers and dangerous despots, to reason believers back into reality for their own emotional, intellectual, physical, and political benefit, while it is still legal, and I'm still able to do that.
Horse shit. Horse shit.
Through the labyrinthine depths, and now you're here. Your quest is almost at an end. You've come to slay the...
Horse shit.